What makes you who you are and different from everyone else you know? Are you shy, outgoing, or somewhere in the middle? Do you like to try new foods and travel to new places? Or do you prefer a predictable routine so that your life isn't so crazy? Do you tend to trust people? Or do you find that people often say one thing and do something else? Do you get to places right on time? Or do you feel the need to be a little early just to make sure you won't be late? This subunit focuses on personality, all the things that make you a unique person. Much of personality research is focused on description. What are the basic elements of personality, and how are they related to how someone behaves? You've probably experienced popular media versions of this approach when taking online quizzes that purport to tell you about your personality. But much of personality research tries to go beyond description and provide explanations. Why are some people outgoing? Why are some people suspicious? And how do these personality traits actually influence a person's behavior? In this subunit, I'll provide an overview of how personality psychologists describe and quantify personality, how these quantifications can be used to predict behavior, and the factors that explain how we develop our own unique personalities. Personality and social psychology are often thought of as being closely linked. For example, there's a Society of Personality and Social Psychology and a Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. And the UC Davis Psychology Department is divided into 5 research areas, one of which is social and personality psychology. But in some ways, social psychology and personality psychology take opposite approaches. As you've already seen, one of the major lessons from social psychology is that people are very influenced by the situation and may do terrible things that are inconsistent with their personalities under conditions of social pressure. In contrast, personality psychology focuses on understanding the nature of each individual and understanding how different personalities can cause different people to act in different ways in the same situation. In other words, social psychology and personality psychology focus on explanations that differ in scope, with social psychology trying to explain why most people within a group act in a particular way, and personality psychology trying to explain why different people from the same group sometimes act in different ways. Here's another way of thinking about it. At any given moment, a person is experiencing a particular situation, which consists of physical, social, and cultural components. These components combine together with the characteristics of the person, some of which are true of all people, some of which apply to people within a group, and some of which are unique to the person and define the person's personality. The situation and the characteristics of the person then combine to determine what thoughts the person will have and how the person will react, how they'll behave. In the Milgram experiment, for example, all of his participants went up to at least 300 volts, but then some people stopped, whereas others kept going. This was a difference among individual people in their overt behavior. There were probably also differences in what the people were thinking. Some people were clearly freaked out by the situation, laughing nervously or digging their fingernails into their flesh. Others didn't seem to be bothered by it. In this experiment, social psychologists tend to focus on the fact that everyone went at least to 300 volts, and most people went all the way up to 450 volts. Personality psychologists tend to focus on why some people stopped at 300 volts, whereas other people went all the way to 450 volts. In fact, there's been quite a bit of research on the personality characteristics that are correlated with obedience versus disobedience in the Milgram paradigm. This research has showed that people who tend toward an authoritarian view and lack what's called social intelligence tend to be more likely to be obedient in this paradigm. However, no single personality attribute has been found that clearly differentiates between people who obey and people who don't obey. Obedience appears to be a complex interaction between many aspects of personality and the nature of the situation.